Lovely. Um, well, it is my extreme pleasure to welcome Rahul Kumar to our talk today. Um, it's timing could not be better. We're getting ready for Christmas here in the Western Hemisphere, and it's a nice Christmas treat for anybody who listens to us. So thank you, Rahul, for making the time and joining us.
Yeah, my
Uh,
pleasure.
um, Rahul, the way we like to do this is we go a little bit in the past. We take inspirations from your past, come to the present, and then we look towards the future. So, with that, please give us a little bit about your story. Where did you grow up, and what happened? What events led to you coming to dairy in Amul and then now in Lactalis? What's that story? What's that journey?
Yeah, thank you. Basically, I was born and brought up in state of UP, North India, and my father was lecturer in physics. So I was having inclination, towards science. I got selected in engineering, that is University of Roorkee. That
Perfect.
time it was
Lovely.
that time it was University of Roorkee in
Correct.
86, and later it became IIT Roorkee.
Yeah.
And I did my engineering. In specialization is in one of the branch of chemical engineering, that is paper technology.
Okay.
But somehow, the destiny, I would say, I never thought that I will be going to IRMA, and that changed my entire life. I never thought that. I heard about Dr. Kurian. I heard
Yeah.
about Amul, because that time Amul ads were very popular.
Correct.
Anand is very small town. Sometime we used to go to Amul Dairy Road.
Right.
Which is very very near to IRMA campus, and we
Correct.
used to, some students, with my batchmates, we used to have tea in front of the Amul Dairy gate, and
Correct.
I used to say, what kind of, this dairy is so such a big dairy, it is world famous, and whether we'll get some job here or not. And again, the turning came when there was a campus interview.
Okay.
Because after 2 years, the campus interview, the
Correct.
people come for
Yeah.
recruitment, campus recruitment. You
That's right.
won't believe, my first offer was from National Egg Coordination Committee. See, this was a Rose Khao one day,
Ah, correct.
but we could take 3 jobs maximum
Okay.
in our campus recruitment. You see that how the things are destined. Second job I got, it was a Dr. Kurian has, they had he has established one Hindustan Paper Corporation Limited,
Okay.
Hindustan Packaging Company Limited, which is
Okay.
basically Tetra Pak.
Okay.
After that, the last was this interview from GCMMF, Gujarat Cooperative Milk Marketing Federation, which is the apex body of Amul.
Correct.
And there also I got selected. Their MD that time, he was planning to have a packaging plant for Amul.
Okay.
Now I had a three option, and I have to select one. And somehow, I'm attached with the white things.
Okay.
So paper was white, egg was white. Again, this milk was white. So I
Correct.
sometime I thought that whether I will have to make my career either in milk or sugar or textile, cotton. So I was
Right.
having something why, phobia kind of thing, that. So I ultimately select GCM,
Okay.
and I joined on 1st June 1990. And
Right.
first day I joined as a purchase officer, and GCM was having a centralized purchase system for all the 11 or 12 member unions, what you call dairies, including Amul dairies in Anand.
Right.
And because they have taken me to set up a polyfilm plant, which is packaging plant,
Yeah.
in Gandhinagar. And for 3 years, I worked in purchase department. But
Got
when
it.
I worked in purchase department, I was knowing the all the things what is happening in the company or
Correct.
in the organization. I was buying butter carton. I was buying corrugated boxes. I was buying cups and tins and polyfilms and cattle feed and gunny bags and veterinary medicine. So everything. So I was having a lot of idea about what is the total business is going on.
Correct.
So I always say, when
Makes
you are
sense.
working in this kind of department, I was knowing how much butter Amul is selling,
Correct.
how much powder they are going to sell because of packaging material and all. So I had a very good idea about what
So,
exactly.
so one thing I would like to point out here is that there are many people who work in purchasing. There are
Yeah.
very few who think like you do. That
Yes.
if you're purchasing the wood carton or corrugated cartons, you at least you start to connect your purchasing to the production of the business.
Yeah, exactly,
So
exactly.
what? So give us some idea, ki, what made you think about that? Because not many people do. I know a lot of people in purchasing who will not make the connection that you did. So something about you made that connection. What was that?
I thought let me use this opportunity to know the business in full,
Perfect.
because I have to go beyond this purchase department. I'm not a purchase man as such, but this is giving me opportunity to
Perfect.
know everything. So perhaps overall picture of business was known with MD or with me,
Right.
because I was buying everything, and I
Correct.
said, okay, today, in this month or this year, is one of the dairy, Sabar dairy, they are going to make so much butter, and total butter in production in Amul next year, because based on the packaging material requirement, based on indent and planning and all things, this would be total butter production, this will be total powder production, this will be total cattle feed requirement, because I'm buying
Correct.
jute bags.
Correct.
So I think this was a very good I think inputs
Yes. Of
to
course.
have that. So if you have that kind of base in your very initial stage of
Career.
career, you know business better.
And you're also understanding the costing of the business because you're a
Ex-
big,
ex-
right, big
yeah.
part of that. Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. Costing also important. Yeah, because
Yes.
at least for packing material and all these things, so
Yes.
costing, yeah. And
Cool.
raw material sugar you buy. So I know that how much sugar is costing, how the sugar market is behaving, how this molasses, important part of cattle feed, how that is moving. So commodity market, then paper market, which is normally depends on international market because of the
Of course.
recycled this thing. You come to know that what exactly is happening. Sometimes why the prices are going up, why the prices are going down, what kind of inventories in entire paper industry has, and because of that, how people are quoting the rates, the craft paper and all. And sometimes, we are importing butter paper, Amul butter, that is parchment paper is only
Yep.
available in France. So sometimes, that what kind of dollar, a lot of things, know that,
Of course.
because of purchase, if you really have that high. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, that's a huge asset. So you were in purchasing. Now, how did you get from purchasing
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah. So
commercial
again,
side?
as I told, I was supposed to set up a polyfilm plant in Gandhinagar.
Correct.
Okay, that was my. And please understand, I was paper technology, not the plastic technologies.
Got it. Yeah.
But I thought, let me go there. Let me go there. I was given this responsibility, and I never. And when I went there, it was only just building, no machines and something like that. But I learned everything there. I coordinated with the supplier, which is in Ahmedabad, and then I set up the polyfilm plant. And this is a
Yeah.
totally different. It was neither paper nor dairy. It was a packaging plant. And
Correct.
I set up that plant. I learned a lot of things there. Learn how the plastics are made. What are the plastic granules? And this is a continuous process. Once you make a plastic bubble
Correct.
to make film, it goes for 7 days, day and night.
Yeah.
So I was having that kind of experience how to run a continuous industry, because when I used to start the plant in the Monday morning, it will only stop after 6 days, day and
Correct.
night.
Yeah.
So that gave me a very good idea. Let me tell you, it was not a plastic as such, but it gave me an idea how to work in the continuous industry, where
Correct.
where your stakes are very high. And I started supplying polyfilm to all the Amul plants and dairy.
Yeah.
It was Amul plants only, but it gave me a lot of knowledge about, you say, the commercial. I used to make polyfilm, then I used to make invoices, and then after 3 years I was shifted to dairy plant, which
Okay.
was a most automatic dairy plant near Ahmedabad airport, which is Mother Dairy Gandhinagar, that time it was called. And I went there as a officer on special duty, and that was my first time when I entered into dairy plant. I never
And
entered
this
dairy plant, and
and
that was 1996.
correct. Right.
And this was the first dairy plant in India which was automatic. And I really had some kind of hunger to learn, and I always go to the field and at the ground, to learn. So
Yeah.
I started learning a lot of things about. I used to go to pouch section and powder section and maybe all this thing, and really try to understand what is happening. And then after packing, I was supposed to see the how it is sold. So I used to go to dock to dispatch, and sometime I also used to go to market along with the driver
Correct.
to understand that what is how the milk is sold.
Yeah.
And it is very, 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 very important, because this is the only product where all your selling is closed at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Correct.
This is very typical.
Yeah.
When the market starts opening up at 7:30 or 8 o'clock, the milk market is closed because
Correct.
whatever milk is sold that time. So
Correct.
I used to go to see the distribution. Telling you, you can learn lot of things with the driver, from the
Of course.
driver who is delivering the milk. He used to tell me, sir, this brand has is coming before you. And yesterday I put 10 crates, but today I got order for only 8 crates because that brand yesterday came early to you. And this brand is getting some foothold because whatever it reason,
Uh,
And this fellow is always saying that there is a lot of leakages and he's not very happy with us.
yeah.
So many things,
Of course.
insights he will tell you. So these are
Of
the,
course.
very, very good this thing. And so this continued, and I did lot of things. I'm not going to into a lot of details because I set up a lot of plants in dairies, mother dairy, learned a lot of things about that. But in 2003, in Amul Dairy, let me tell you, Amul Dairy, which is in Anand, they wanted a managing director.
Okay.
Okay. And I was thinking that I'm almost completed 92 to 2003, 11 years. So I applied there. And of course, it is a within one corporate kind of thing,
Yeah.
GCMF or dairies, Amul Dairy. But I had to apply, and I applied it. And this was 2003. That was my again turning point,
Correct.
that I was selected as a MD of Amul Dairy in
Awesome.
2003
Very good.
at the age of 33. So I was very young. There also I didn't have any exposure to the rural part of the
Right.
dairy. Please
Yeah.
understand. Whatever experience I had of 6 7 years or 6 years, 97 to 2003, it was basically a technical part of it,
Sure.
front end market
Yeah.
and all the plants, automatic plants. But rural part, I was not aware. I never had, and in fact, incidentally, my background was also not rural. I was supposed to join on 1st April 2003. That
Okay.
was my joining date.
Right.
Incidentally, that 1st April 2003 was in Hindi what you call Amavas. It was not a very auspicious day.
Correct.
So people are saying why you are joining on such an unauspicious day. I said first of all I don't know what is auspicious and what is unauspicious. I don't know.
Correct.
But nevertheless, I've come here by driving myself. I cannot go back and again come tomorrow and all this thing. I'll join today.
That's right.
So I joined that day, and next day morning I went to village.
Mm.
Next day 4 o'clock I took one veterinary doctor, and I went to village just to understand. And that created a huge news that the MD has come to village next day, and this I continued for next 2 years. So I must have visited at least 500 or 600 villages. I used to
Yeah.
do two, three villages one day, and maybe at least 4 or 5 days in a week. I used to go to the villages just to understand how the milk business is done at the grassroots level. This had given me very insights about the dairy business, let me tell you. Because I always believe that in dairy business, the main business is procurement. A textile owner will not go to the cotton field raw material,
Yeah.
but it is very important that in dairy business, when you have 78% to 80% raw material cost,
Correct.
and so if you don't have that control on your raw material cost and quality and consistency, and you cannot run the very dairy business. And that was
Correct.
my learning, and that's why I used to go to villages. I wanted to understand what is the cost of production, what
Yeah.
kind of feed they are making, and forget about all these things, whether they are happy.
Correct.
Because I can see that that I'm paying say about 20 25 rupees a liter, and I've done my excel sheet costing thing. This is
Right.
my cattle feed, this is my
Yeah.
insurance, this is my veterinary medicine, this is my
Correct.
investment and all this thing. And farmer is getting 2 rupees a liter, he's very happy. But then I used to go there. I used to ask whether you are happy or not, and I'm
Right.
telling you, most of the time the answer was no, because we are not able to understand his problem. Sometimes he has a disease which is called mastitis, so he misses the milk, and
Sure.
even sometimes the cattle is so sick that he cannot give milk for say, several days, and in fact he is not getting bills, so income is stopped, but his expenses are increased because he has to treat the animal. Otherwise, there may be permanent
Of
disability
course.
kind of thing. So these kind of things, were very important to understand what is the problem.
Correct.
Second is that in the production side, 60% of the cost of milk production is the cattle feed cost or feed
Correct.
cost.
That's right.
So,
Feed
so
cost.
if you really want to help the farmer and if you want to really optimize his cost of production, you have to ensure that whatever feed is feeding to his cows or buffaloes, it has to be technically designed and most. So
Correct.
these were the great learning, and I started interacting with them, understanding, speaking Gujarati. That is also important because you cannot communicate if you don't have local language.
Of
So
course.
Gujarati was very similar to Hindi, so I picked up Gujarati. I could read Gujarati, I could speak to Gujarati. Maybe some, initially people were laughing that it was a Gujarati Hindi mix and all this thing, but okay, this was,
Yeah, yeah, correct.
I was committed to do that because I knew that if I don't do that I will not able to understand the people. When you are in the field, you learn not only what you wanted to learn, but you learn so many things of the aspects of
Absolutely.
life, which really
But
helps you in the back of the mind.
one thing, in order to learn that, you have to keep your eyes and ears open, which you started to do that right from the very beginning. Right? I
Yes,
mean,
yes, yeah,
the
exactly.
only way you
Yeah,
learn is you keep your eyes and ears open, which,
yeah. So that is my style of working, where I really go into details. I really I work with the last mile people. You know,
yep,
whether it's a farmer or maybe truck driver or maybe an operator or maybe I go to boiler section and I will talk to the boiler operator to understand what is happening in
correct.
boiler section, what is happening in condition, or in market what is happening
Yeah.
exactly, to
So
understand the
Rahul,
whole business.
shifting gears slightly,
Yeah.
um, so you make a huge effort in understanding how the business is ground up, built up, all the way from the farmer to costing to procurement. How do you run a continuous operation? I mean, that's phenomenal. So the question that I have, what's brewing in my head is, so you do all that. What is the most difficult thing you had to encounter while you were doing this?
Frankly speaking, I didn't have many difficulty. The people say that that when you are working with the farmers, the board is farmer, made up of the farmer. They could not understand what you want to do. This was not the case in Amul. Let me tell you.
Okay,
When I wanted to do anything, any technological intervention, anything which is very, very, unprecedented, I want to try something. The board was very, 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 I would say, positive. In fact, they were having a lot of trust in me.
okay,
So there was no difficulty. The only difficulty what I could face is the maybe funding.
sure,
The funds are not there. Because cooperatives are not very much rich in cash flow and all this thing. But all the money goes back to the farmer. That
yeah,
might be the reason. So I have to do a lot of borrowing and all these things. Sometimes that is making pressure on the project. And please
sure,
understand, in cooperative, if you don't have capital and you
of
have to
course,
borrow, basically the interest is sponsored by the members.
got it. Yes,
you know
of
so
course,
so basically, when you have a lot of borrowing and then you have to pay interest to the bank, that is
Co-
indirectly
coming from
compensated
the
by the
members.
farmers
Yeah,
by reduction of their milk price.
of course,
So sometimes this becomes little by little. Sometimes you cannot invest lot of things because you have a
yeah,
good project in your mind, because you know
correct.
that I will not able to invest, but otherwise this will impact the price
Milk
paid
price.
to the farmer
Yeah,
this year. So this was the only thing. Otherwise, I will tell you very brief that what kind of a technological intervention I have done
yes,
in Amul.
please.
In terms of putting the entire product procurement system from chilling center with the cans and all thing to bulk milk cooler. And I put up about 600 bulk coolers in 2 years, and this
Wow,
really changed the entire procurement system in Amul. And it was a kind of rolling plan. And let me tell you, this is all happened because of my team. I was only, generating the ideas and giving push and all this thing, but team was very good. Let me tell you, you cannot work if you don't have proper team.
of course,
That is very important, and you have to empower the team. You have to really appreciate it, go
right,
along with the team. So
of course.
earlier the milk wastage was 3 to 4% because of can handling
Yeah,
and chilling centers, and coming milk is coming and all this thing. In bulk cooler, the milk is chilled there itself.
correct,
This 3 to 4% has become almost negligible. It was almost zero.
correct,
So that changed the entire quality system of Amul, because when we say that milk is 3 to 4% is what you call sour and curd. It is either sour or curd.
correct,
But if you have 3 to 4% milk, sour and curd, just before about 10% or 15% milk is also going to be sour and curd.
right, right,
Because your supply chain
correct,
system is slow, and the milk is not chilled immediately. So overall quality is not very good. So this was the first intervention after the entire Indian dairy industry. They went into this thing. I'm
change.
talking about still 2005, 2006,
Yeah,
2007. And then another was, we set up the most automatic paneer plant in India. The paneer is basically is handmade.
yeah,
But if you see Amul paneer plant, it is untouched by human hand.
correct.
It completely automatic from end to end, including dosing of the culture
Yeah,
and molding and unmolding and cooling and dice cutting and even filling in the small dice. Everything was automatic. So I did this kind of to change Amul from traditional, technologies and all this thing to be upfront and all this thing.
of course.
We also did, first time robotics packing of pouch in the crate,
Nice.
in the Virar plant. That was my last one of the last projects when I was in Amul. So I could do it without any difficulty, except the finances, what I
Of
just
course.
mentioned.
Yeah,
Otherwise, the most difficult part is to convince the board,
correct.
which the board is also farmers. They also don't want that their farmers are not getting price just because I want to do lot of projects. So,
Correct.
but still they were quite supportive. But still, to answer your question, the only problem I had is finances, which is all normally there in
Normal.
cooperatives.
That's right. I mean,
Yeah,
and also, I mean, cooperatives, the balance sheet is the farmer's balance sheet, and
yeah,
exactly as
exactly.
you're saying, the interest expense is comes out of the farmer's check, either it's the
Yeah,
milk
yeah,
check
yeah,
or the
yeah.
dividend check. Of course,
So
absolutely.
it was a smooth ride. Let me tell you, as far as
But
my
I think you did a lot to inculcate and cultivate that confidence and that trust that the board,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
board allowed you to do it. And I think that is the. So now we
Understand.
transition from your time in the cooperative to your time at Lactalis. How was that transition? I mean, that's a pretty
Yeah,
major
again,
transition.
another destiny. See,
Perfect.
another destiny.
I like how humble you are. You give all the credit to destiny, but the credit is yours. Anyway, that we'll recognize.
No, no,
Keep
no.
going.
So I tell you. So I was also having one project which is putting a dairy plant in US. Then we started manufacturing ghee. We started manufacturing paneer. In between this 2013, the Lactalis they wanted to come in India, and they was almost finalizing this Tirumala, which is in South,
Yeah.
as a first acquisition. And I had one common friend. So she came to Anand and she said, "What is happening and why?" I said, "I'm in the US and I'm putting the plant there." And she told that, Lactalis is coming. So I said, "Okay, whether you will be interested." I said, I have not thought of, because let me tell you, on the back of the mind, I completed about 22 years in Amul
Correct.
and 11 years as a MD from
Yeah.
33 to 44. So
Yeah.
there was little bit, let me be very frankly, very candid, that I was having some kind of fatigue, what is
Okay.
called creativity fatigue. I thought that, okay, let me just stuck in my mind. Let me see what can be done. So I had one brief profile of in my computer or my mobile. I said, okay, this is my profile because this I used to have in Harvard and all. I got a call that the Lactalis wants to meet me. Somehow I could not beat them and the first meeting. Then another time when they came, because they were coming for negotiation and all this,
Yeah.
every time they wanted to meet me. So next time I met this Lactalis guys. It was almost in 5 minutes. They say, you join us. So that was not a kind of thing. I said, okay, let me meet and all this thing. I was not also very much aware about Tirumala brand and all this thing, but I knew
Right.
that it's the largest dairy company, and they are coming to India. So it's not, and they explained that it's not that we are coming for Tirumala. It is our long term planning and all, and this is the way. So I thought, let me make a try, and I said, okay, yes. And then they said, why don't you join in 15 20 days? I said, not possible. I have to complete my balance sheet in Amul first, and then
Right.
I can join. So then I completed 2014, and then I joined in 2014.
Yeah.
See, my biodata is very simple. 29 years of service, 22 years in Amul, 7 years in Lactalis. I never changed my job except once.
And
So
it is all to do with something that is white. Milk.
White, yeah, yeah. So I never had that kind of thing. So I said, okay, let me join it, and let's see. Lactalis also was having a very, later I came to know the kind of, the way they work, the way they have grown globally, and the way kind of, strengths they have, And
Yeah,
this was, let me tell you, when I say destiny, but it is also destiny for me to learn something different,
of
you
course.
know because you have certain way of working in cooperative, and the way this company works, Lactalis, is totally different, let me tell you, totally
Right.
different. And I had again a big challenge, I would say, when the Lactalis came to India. So they bought a company from the promoters. They have a global expertise which has they've never run any business in India.
Right.
And one Mr. Rahul Kumar had come, who has worked only in cooperative. So cooperative and Lactalis, and then a promoter, which is totally different way of running. It's just like, Lala company. So you have Lala company, you have a cooperative, and you have multinational, which has has totally different kind of this business. How
Yeah.
the American company or the European company
Sure.
works, the income time, analysis, and budgeting, and variation, and cash flow analysis, and blah blah blah. So it was very difficult for me to mix these these culture,
Yeah.
you know
Ingredients, correct.
irrigating culture. And it's not only culture, but this was also for me to learn
Of course.
that how these Lalas were running the company profitably, and they sold this company to Lactalis, and
Yeah.
how Lactalis is going to run this company, which is certainly not with the Lala style of working or cooperative style of working. And
Exactly.
I have to
Make it
gel
work.
everything work. That was a big task, but I could do it, because first of all, I had to convince them this is not France or Italy, it is India.
India.
And this, so I tell, so mature and so practical company, Lactalis, that they know that if they want to succeed in India, they have to sell milk in pouch. It's not
Right.
that they are, if Lactalis is the largest cheese company in the world, they start selling cheese in India, because that is
Of
not
course.
the market yet. It may
Correct.
come after 20 years
Yes.
or 15 years. So they could understand. They are very, very, I would say, practical.
Yeah.
Customized. They know how to do business in particular country.
Right.
And perhaps that was my also strength, to to mold them to how to do the business in India, how to procure the milk, and how we can do. So after that, we started manufacturing butter. Now we have started manufacturing cheese, and all the acquisition is accordingly. So we
Yes.
wanted to present in all the geography, in all the category, and in all the channels of marketing, or selling or distribution. So first we were there in Tirumala, which was a south based
Correct.
company. Then
Yeah.
we took one central India based company, Anik, which was very old ghee company, which is it was set up by Devers in India in 1965. So
Yeah.
we had a present in terms of ghee portfolio, and pan India distribution. Then after that we took Prabhat, which was a cheese company. So it was basically cheese came into our portfolio, and then
Right.
and B2B and ingredient, and Horeca market. So this made a practice acquisition strategy was so effective and so I would say practical. Say if you remove this last 2 years of Corona, COVID, 2 years, in 5 years
Sure.
we acquired basically three companies. And kept those companies growing. So for
Yeah.
me also, it was a kind of a totally different culture, totally different style of working. Really, it helped me to set up Lactalis, because of my very, very good insights in Amul in terms of
Of
dairy
course.
business.
Yeah.
And I always keep try to learn a lot of things, because we hardly know anything, let me tell you, of
I
of, of,
agree.
of any
I
of
agree.
any of any business. We hardly know anything. I sometimes, you must know that what I know about veterinary treatment, how much I
Sure.
know about sex semen, or how much I know about e-commerce, how much I know about some innovation, product development, and what is the whey protein concentrate, what is happening best in technology in US or maybe Europe. We hardly know anything. So we have to learn every day. So this is what make me
So, Rahul, we've taken a lot of your
hungry
time.
and hungry.
We've taken a lot of your time. So, in sort of coming to a closure, you represent in some shape or form the business innovation and the commercial innovation in India. And reason I say that is um, you have demonstrated phenomenal capability of listening, keeping your eyes and ears open, learning. grassroots business, and now you're at this juncture where you're actually working with Lactalis. That is a a technological giant. I think of Lactalis as a technological company,
Yeah.
and in dairy. Now, in the Indian context and in the Indian market, I mean, the challenge that India has, it has to feed, nourish this growing demographics and very supportive demographics. So, just in closing, just leave us with some thoughts on, how do you think the Indian market is going to accomplish that?
No, first of all, please understand you have to see the evolution of milk in India. In 1947, 1950, we were just making only 10 million metric ton or something like that, and we
Yeah,
after 20 years it was over 17 or 20 million metric ton. In 1970, it was 20, 25, 22 million metric ton. So it was milk shortest country,
yeah,
and we did
correct,
everything. It's a huge story of population flood and all this thing. Becoming
correct,
India number country in 1995 or 96, where we surpassed US. So US was 86 and we become 90.
correct.
In last 25 years or 21 years, we doubled the milk production.
Yeah,
Okay, and we doubled the milk production, but also we consume everything.
yes, of course,
it we
100%.
it we it means that from nourishment point of view and from nutrition security point of view, because India needs milk, because
Yeah,
we are basically dependent on protein
yeah, correct.
from milk. So we have accomplished that it's not that we have doubled our milk production, but we have extra milk and we don't have how to export it.
Sure,
If we were producing 95 million metric ton, we were consuming 94.5 million metric ton. These were
correct.
99%, 98%. Today we are producing 200 million metric ton. Still my export is only 2%.
Of course.
Okay, so the
Absolutely.
self consumption is there.
Yeah,
The issue is there, which is more important, because everything is not rosy. Let me tell you,
of course.
you must understand. Sometimes you also have to think little bit on negative side, so
Of
that
course.
we are careful, we are
Yeah,
cautious, we take the proper care. The most important thing is the sustainability.
yeah,
Today our productivity is very low.
correct. Yeah,
The resources are shrinking, whether it's the water or fodder or manpower or talent or priority. All this thing is happening. The market is also very volatile. In the beginning you said about the
yeah,
liquidity. The
correct.
market is not very consistent.
That's correct.
Farmers, they don't have trust that whether I will get the same money or same rate of milk after
Tomorrow.
6 months,
Yeah,
because there is no some policy problems are there. There is no storage, there is no inventorize. You have to inventorize any commodity
correct.
to stabilize the prices.
Yeah,
So we don't have any system here, so this is a problem.
yes,
And then sometime you have a good export market, so good monsoon and all, a lot of seasonality effect is
yeah,
there.
of
What I
course.
mean to say, the only problem is, in India, is we will keep producing milk, but at what cost?
At what cost? Correct.
Whether we are today, the cost of milk production in India is almost or maybe higher than US or European.
It's
It
actually
was
significantly
yeah,
higher.
it's a 35 euro cent or
Yeah,
36 euro cent, which is 32, which is higher
yes, correct.
than our country. So these are the things which are we be very careful, and
Yes,
people have to work right from breeding, feeding, management of cattle and cattle feed. Everything has to be fall in line. So
that's right.
what I mean to say, that very good industry, very good demand is going to be there, where a lot of value addition is going to
Of
be
course.
there.
Yes,
But from production side, from supply side, if we have to be more competitive. We have to
yes,
give the more, and if we are more competitive in cost of production, then only farmers will have some money.
absolutely.
So
Correct,
it is cost of production at one side and the value addition from other side. And
correct.
if the both are coming as a parallel engine, then only the things will be much more efficient and appropriate, the way it should be. So
Makes
this is nice industry. Growth potential is there. It is going to grow. It has lot of social economical impact and
course.
impact on the society, but
Absolutely.
it has to be more efficient, more cost effective, and most I will say progressive in terms of so that the future is secure. I'm talking about the new generation point of view. If new
Yeah,
generation has to see potential in the dairy industry in India, which has not happened in Fonterra or New Zealand, where now the young generation is studying in US, and the father, and with the 75 years, and with they are handling 1,000 cows. So there are
Correct.
only parents and one dog and 2,000 cows.
That's right.
The kids are not there. So this is not happening. This should not happen here.
This should not happen. I think that's a big gap. Rahul, thank you so much for making time. Your time is very valuable, so thank you very much.
My
Um,
pleasure.
and one thing I would like to ask of you
Yeah.
is we we sort of covered half the topics we wanted to cover. So maybe
Yeah.
in 6 months we get on your calendar again and we have another conversation.
Sure, sure. I would love to do that. I would love to
Thank you.
do
Thank
that.
you so much for your time.
Thank you,
Have a,
thank
have a
you.
have a good holiday and have a very good New Year.
And
And
you
we'll
too, you too. And it's
and
really lovely talking to you. You have very energetic, talking ambience that you
good. I'm glad.
have.